Hello everyone, Cap here, and welcome back to some more Mechabellum. This is a short video on the current new update that is out right now. There are a couple of changes in this one that actually are kind of impactful, so let's talk about it. First up, there are some mechanism adjustments, and they are both very powerful in my opinion and can change up quite a lot. So first up, when calculating the score after the battle, all units summoned during the battle only score 1/4 the score of normal units. So this is kind of obviously there to address the War Factory, and in particular the War Factory kind of surprise double War Factory turn 5 strat that I talked about in the previous video or the video before that, I'm not sure. War Factory with summons. There are just so many summons on the board at the end of the round that it deals so much damage that you can actually kind of one-shot your opponent with a surprise attack with War Factories and double tech or something. And yeah, obviously it seems like the devs did not like that, and also players did not really like that because it's kind of it's kind of annoying to play against if you get one shot pretty much and you don't have opportunity to actually counter. That can be kind of frustrating, and yeah, that's why this was changed. So a lot less damage coming in now from the summons. This also applies to all other summons, so for example the wasps coming out of the overlords, or the crawlers coming out of mechanical division steel balls, or anything like that. But mainly the point of this and the biggest impact of this is for the War Factory. Next up, the effect of acid is adjusted to units in acid lose 3% of their health per second and take 250% damage when attacked. This I really like actually, because so I think before it was 4% health per second lost and nothing else, and now there is this 250% extra damage to those units in acid, which is really good in my opinion. I think it's a good change and also an impactful change. I can see this being used quite often, to be honest. When you get later into the rounds and there are a couple of giants, or just in general a lot of units, then when there's acid on the ground, it's quite likely that your units will actually be in the acid, and they get deleted pretty much whenever they are in the acid and fight your units. I think this acid effect is quite big actually. And we will see acid a ton more now. It might actually become somewhat standard to add acid crawlers to your unit composition. It will kind of depend obviously what you're playing. If you're playing like rhinos and stuff, you don't really want acid crawlers because you are screwing yourself over, because acid also obviously applies to your own units when you stand in it. However, if you go for like a range build, maybe Marksman or Phoenix, Mustangs and all that stuff, then having acid crawlers in the front to hopefully get close enough to the opponent's units that the acid is actually where it should be, then it can be very, very impactful and very strong in my opinion. So yeah, let's see how this goes, if people pick it up and if this becomes somewhat standard to have acid crawlers. And War Factory adjustments. There is a new tag called Efficient Maintenance. The upkeep cost of War Factory is reduced by 100. So yeah, it was 200 before, now it's 100. Yeah, I guess. So it seems like this entire update, by the way, it seems like the devs wanted the War Factory to be less gimmicky. So less of a cheese strategy where you push double War Factory with double summons in one turn or something like that, but rather they want the War Factory to be part of your proper unit composition that you can use over multiple turns pretty much. Less damage from the summons, so it takes longer and you have the War Factory longer, and also potentially reduce the upkeep cost so you don't get screwed after a few turns. Not sure how often this will be used though, it kind of depends. There's no cost here. I need to go in game to see what the actual cost is to figure out how much it's worth. Maybe it will cost 100 or something, so it will be worth after a turn. But also whenever you buy a tag, obviously all the other tags become more expensive. And then yeah, I don't know. Not sure if this is actually a good tech or if people will actually play it. Next up, high explosive ammo. Increases the splash damage range of the main guns by 5 meters, but decreases attack by 40%. This is actually pretty good, I think. And this will probably be used, actually. One of the somewhat counters to War Factory is just swarming it. And to better deal with the swarm, you can just put high explosive ammo on the War Factory, and then it will be able to deal with the swarm itself, pretty much. And also, the damage of the cannons of the War Factory is pretty high. So all kind of low and mid-tier units get one-shot by the cannon anyway. So you don't care that much about the decreased attack damage. It's kind of similar to Overlords. The splash damage on Overlords is also really good, because Overlords overkill a lot of the times. So the damage reduction doesn't really matter that much. And same goes for the War Factory here. So I'm expecting this to actually be used. The experience required to level up the War Factory has been reduced by 30%. So yeah, devs want to see more War Factories and more War Factories over more turns. And yeah, then you also upgrade them over a couple of turns and all that. So this is also in line. And yeah, I haven't seen a level 2 War Factory, I think, like ever. I only see level 1s, and people just buy another War Factory instead of upgrading War Factories because of the unit spawn. It's just better. It was better because of the additional damage that you would get when the round ends. But yeah, now it's not that much about the summon damage anymore, so maybe people will actually upgrade the War Factories. The price of Missile Interceptor reduced to 200. And photon coating reduced to 200 as well. Both those upgrades I have not seen a single time. Yeah, photon coating only really makes sense if you go aggressive, but War Factory is so slow that it's not going into close combat kind of too quickly in a round, so it didn't really make sense. And yeah, Missile Interceptor also. Who buys Missile Interceptor tech upgrade anymore with the anti-missile Missile Interceptor tower? So yeah, this is kind of whatever. I still expect people to not really play these tech upgrades. And here's an interesting one. Marksman. New tech, Assault Mode. Marksman's range is reduced by 70, HP increased by 500%, movement speed increased by 3, and attack has a 9 meter area damage. And the Assault Marksman variant has been removed. So before we had the Assault Marksman as a card that could show up randomly between the rounds. And this would convert your Marksman into this Assault mode, basically. So now what they did is they removed the card and added it as a tech. So you can actually, without randomness, decide, okay, I want to play this. This is good, I think, because Assault Marksman, nobody ever played it. For one, it showed up quite not that often. I didn't see that card often, to be honest. And also, when you play Marksman, you already, like, you position your units in a way and you counter already other units, and that's why you buy Marksman to begin with. And then when this card shows up, it completely changes the use of the Marksman, and you don't really want to pick it then. So, but with this, you can decide, okay, I want to use this, and you already position and build your unit composition in a way that you can actually make use of Assault mode. So yeah, this is much better, I think, that you have this as a tech. That being said, I still think this is not the greatest tech. It's more of a meme tech still, I think. So, but let's see, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some people will figure out that it's somehow busted and that it can really do a lot of work or something. But I'm not convinced yet. It can be fun for sure, but not highly competitive, I don't think. Next up, equipment. Parasitic Ammo, price adjusted from 350 to 400. Parasitic, one of the strongest items in the game, because retargeting of the opponent's units is so strong and distracting them for basically forever. It negates a lot of the time part of the opponent's army because they keep retargeting and keep getting distracted by the spawned crawlers from Parasitic Ammo. I didn't like it at 350 that much because it's that big of an investment. I know it can be very, very strong, but also it's kind of a risk because you spend so many credits. And now it's 400, so I personally will be even less likely to pick it. But yeah, I see that this is a very strong card, a very strong item. Pathfinding. The pathfinding algorithm has been tweaked so that units will now more aggressively avoid other friendly units and structures. Okay, I'm curious to see how the crawlers work behind the tower. I think that's probably still similar or the same, but I'm assuming this also partially for the war factory, because the war factory, when you put it behind the tower, it gets completely stuck behind the tower. It like wiggles around and it can't really pass the tower for so long. And in general, sometimes units get stuck behind each other, kind of blocking. And so I'm assuming this just to make sure units move a little bit more smoothly overall. Not sure how big of an impact this has outside of the war factory getting stuck. Controls. It now takes longer to hold the left button to rotate units. Okay, I didn't even know that's a thing. I always used middle mouse button to rotate the units. And you can turn this off in the settings. Alright. Okay, and fixed a crawler texture error, whatever. Okay, let's real quick go into the game and see a couple of things. So the cost of the tax here for the war factory. So efficient maintenance here costs 50 and you already get value out of it after a single turn. However, whenever you buy a tag, the other tags become more expensive by 200. So yeah, I'm still not sure if this is really worth. Unless you really don't want to buy other tags, then obviously it makes sense. But yeah, kind of hard to tell. Let's go into the testing grounds real quick. I want to see the pathing. No, looks the same. Okay, doesn't really affect the crawlers behind the tower. And let's see about the war factory. I'm assuming the war factory will move past the tower much more quickly. And yeah, it turns and doesn't really wiggle as much and just drives past the tower. Okay. Yeah, like I expected. This looks better now. Still takes a while to drive around because it's so slow, but still it's a lot better than it was before. Alright. I think the biggest potential impact, well, for one, war factories will be less cheesy, so people who play war factory will actually play it like a regular unit kind of, to be part of their army and not as a win condition where you just put down 2 war factories with double spawn and expect to win in a turn or maybe 2 because of the summon damage. This will not be the case anymore. Now people will actually play the war factory to counter their opponent or put out some threat that the opponent needs to deal with. War factories will now integrate more into the whole army, into your unit composition when you build them. So that's very good, I think. And secondly, I'm kind of excited about the asset change because I think we will see a lot more asset now, and asset is really good. Let's see. Also, by the way, I didn't mention this, photon coating. I'm expecting more photon coating, obviously. So I already put back the tag on my Overlord when I saw this. I didn't have photon emission on my Overlord for the longest time, but I put it back on just because of this update. And there will be a lot more asset on the ground, I'm pretty sure, and Overlord can help with that, with photon emission. Alright, I will make another video either today or early tomorrow about some new gameplay with hopefully some asset in play or something. We will see. Thank you guys for watching and see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.